Good morning. The sun rising on a new day, a new week, and in a few days, a new year. And still our Prime Minister refuses to call a royal commission into the events at Bondi Beach. This morning, quickly, two stories, one from the back pages, one from the front pages. From the front pages, related to the Bondi events, Mick Keelty, the former and much respected Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police, has written a compelling article in the Australian newspaper. You can read it in full there. I'll just quote a couple of paragraphs where Mick outlines the difference between the limited inquiry that New South Wales is going to proceed with and the federal government will support, and a royal commission. And the differences are profound. Mick says Bondi will not simply raise questions of intelligence failures, administrative arrangements, or resources. Deeper questions must be asked in public of officials and their political masters. We need to know whether part of the problem is a failure of understanding or, worse, deliberate decisions to ignore uncomfortable truths. I think it's that. He says, we know the Bondi Beach victims were deliberately targeted because they were Jewish by two men who self-identified as followers of Islamic State. This draws a big question mark, and we mentioned this last week. This draws a big question mark over the reported statement by AFP Commissioner Chrissy Barrett, who said, these are the alleged actions of those who have aligned themselves to a terrorist organisation, not a religion. This tortured distinction, Mick writes, seems to infect the highest levels of government and is deeply troubling. It reflects a conceptual error that goes to the heart of Australia's counter-terrorism posture. He says counter-terrorism depends on clarity of purpose. Confusion at the top cascades downwards. We need a royal commission to examine every scrap of evidence to determine how best to protect our community and ensure Australia does not drift into denial. Democracies are weakened, he says, not by inquiry, but by avoidance. Bondi deserves more than procedural reassurance. It demands the highest standard of scrutiny our system can provide. That standard is a federal royal commission. Anything less, he says, risks telling Australians that some truths are too difficult to face. It's a compelling article and a compelling argument, and the pressure mounts on the Prime Minister. On the back pages, there was profound disappointment at the conclusion of the Melbourne Boxing Day test in just 2 days. Again, Cricket Australia will lose, they're saying $10 million. I would think it would be many, many millions more than that, when you think about having to refund all the tickets, the catering rights, broadcasting rights, all the things that factor into it. But more than that, more than the money cost, I felt for all the kids who were excited about going to days 3 and 4 to see their heroes play. And because of the total mess the people at the MCC made of the ground and the pitch, the game went but 2 days. How do they do that? The grass they knew the day before was too long on the pitch. It favoured the bowlers. The batsmen had very little chance. And simply, we didn't see a test match. It was like a 2020 played on Boxing Day and the day after. They're standing by the curator down there, and I don't know much about the bloke, but I know he got it terribly, terribly wrong. And I couldn't believe his rationalisation yesterday. He said, look, we designed the pitch so it was going to be terrific on days 4 and 5. Well, just a little problem. The game ended on day 2. It's just a little bit like the captain of the Titanic, Captain Smith, saying, I guarantee you the trip to New York was going to be fantastic. That's it. We just got past the iceberg. Have a great day.